When Hendrix started doing that, that was it wasn't unheard of. It had been done, but not to the extent that he was doing it. Plus, he basically created an entire um, I don't want to say a style of music. He basically created an entire style of music plus a career based on that. And then once he got going, it just cascaded. And then he just started once he broke through and started doing all those unaccompanied solos. When he did that, I mean, the turning point, of course, was the unaccompanied solos that he was doing, and the infamous Star Spangled Banner. And when he did that, yeah, and he realized I can move farther, even farther than that, and stay within the context of a song. That's the thing when shred guitar. We always talk about shred. When it came out, I think it was a reaction to musicians trying to see where they could go and not lose sight of what they were doing. Problem is some people lost sight and just kept on going. And it's like, okay, there's a problem though, is that if it's not a song, if it's not a musical, then it's pointless. Dave Barrett, the harmonica player, and probably one of the greatest. I don't agree with a lot of stuff that he says, but I'm not going to take anything away from Dave Barrett. Dave Barrett is probably one of the greatest and most prolific harmonica educators ever. He categorized a lot of the harmonica techniques and actually gave them names because some of them didn't have names. And he said that repetition is important and musicality is important because if you don't repeat anything, it means nothing was important. And so it just passes through. Like when I first started playing harmonica, I just wailed, and I touted it. Oh yeah, I'm a wailer. I wail like an Irish banshee. That's what I used to tell everybody. I wail like an Irish banshee. But the problem is that I realized very quickly that, and Dave Barrett said this exact thing, if you start throwing all your riffs in, you very quickly run out of riffs. And I'm like, yeah, that's what happened. So my style has drastically changed in the past few years because of that. But it's funny though, because I look at a handful of harmonica players in this area. There's not a lot, but there's a few, and a lot of them are doing what I used to do, but they have not outgrown it, and so they just wail, and they wail over vocalists, and and I'm just like, sweetheart, you're going that's not going to get you anywhere. But they don't want to listen to me because I guess I'm a dick.
Well,
but anyway,
for all their limitations, that was the great thing about Kiss songs. The solo was as much a part. The problem with shredding is the solo is no longer part of the song.
No, it's like a separate piece.
Yeah, you're just creating something that if someone covers your song, you can change that solo entirely and no one's going to care.
Yeah, no.
With a Kiss song, those solos are integral to the song.
Yeah.
Think of like Firehouse,
mm-hmm.
Detroit Rock City.
Yeah, especially Detroit Rock City. Yeah.
Even though technically Bob Ezrin wrote that solo. That's from what I understand. Ace said that Bob played it on a piano, and then they transposed it onto the guitar, and that's how that solo came about. Especially the albums, if you pay attention to the ones Eddie Kramer produced, the first album, Rock and Roll Over and Love Gun, and Ace's solo album. When I saw an interview with Eddie Kramer, he said Ace was just one of those guys he loved working with because of the way he played. I guess Eddie started out as a guitarist, and that's probably why.
I saw an interview with Paul Stanley years ago, and it was I think it was just after the Unholy album. I think it was the Unholy, the album Unholy. Revenge. Okay, yeah. It was right after that, and they had they had basically shooken up their look and their style. And they were talking to all of them, everybody, and they talked to Paul Stanley. And he said, we wanted to make certain that our music was not dated. And he said that we didn't want that to happen because what happens is they end up getting pigeonholed in. And and you start you start falling into a genre that you can't get out of. It's like watching an interview with Billy Sheehan, and he said that when I go, Mr. Big, we were just talking about them, Paul Gilbert and Pat Torpey and Billy Sheehan and the singer whose name frickin' escapes. Who's the singer?
Oh crap! Give me just a second.
Yeah, I was just watching a frickin' interview with that guy too.
And it sucks that happened because I can't remember the dude's name, because I actually know a woman who hung out with him before he was in Mr. Big.
Yeah, Eric Martin. Eric Martin. Yeah. By the way,
did you know Pat Torpey died?
Yeah, I did. That was the next thing that was coming out of my mouth was that Pat Torpey died. Wow. Yeah, he died. Yeah, he died in 2017, and apparently, the last album he didn't play on it, but he programmed a lot of the drum parts on a drum machine. And when he died, they decided they toured for the album, and then they disbanded because they didn't want to continue without Torpey. Torpey he was 67 when he died, and not only that, that guy had been in a lot of bands. He was in Impellitteri. He was in. He played with a lot.
The first time he came to my mind was when he was in Impellitteri.
Yeah, I had no idea who he was before Mr. Big, and I always thought, this guy's kind of dopey, and look at his freaky hair. But when I went back and looked at his discography, I realized, oh my God, this guy is serious.
He's a great drummer. Oh, and Billy even said, he goes, I went and just cherry picked who I thought the best musicians out there were. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Mr. Big was a super group of studio musicians.
Yeah, they were a lot of really great players. The cool thing though, too, I always thought was that Billy had moved out of the Talus shred bass, and they reined him in as in order to fit in with the song. He still did his shit. Everybody, if you don't know Billy Sheehan, check him out. From Talus, Mr. Big.
Don't ever think that anything Billy did in that band wasn't Billy's idea.
Yeah, I know.
Everything I read and everything I've watched, Mr. Big was Billy Sheehan's band.
It was, and actually when he started touring with Steve Vai, and Martin and Torpey were pissed off, and they were actually going to fire him, but Kotzen said he was mad because he said, no, the reason I joined this band was to play with Billy Sheehan. So, but yeah, just so people know, Pat Torpey, he was in a lot of really great bands. A shred band called Impellitteri. That's Chris Impellitteri. Some Ted Nugent stuff.
Which is interesting because past that album, I don't think I heard maybe one other thing come out of Chris Impellitteri.
Yeah, I know. Impellitteri, great name, but it's not really his name, I'm sure. But Impellitteri, he was a shredder, for those who don't know, but most people would not remember who he was. I'm not saying he wasn't a great player. I wouldn't even really know much of what he did either. It just wasn't my thing. But there's an interesting side to, and I did not know this. Billy Sheehan did a side project called Niacin, and what the setup was basically bass, B3 organ, and the B3 is the reason why they called it Niacin. Right. And a couple other and drums, and it was it was jazz is what it was.
I actually bought the album. I'm not a fan of it, or I bought it because Billy played on it.
Yeah, is that the High Bias one?
Whatever the first album was, it might have just been called Niacin. I'm not sure. Okay. I didn't really dig it. It wasn't really my thing, but I mean, there's some great playing on it.
Yeah, apparently, Torpey played on the High Bias, the Niacin album titled High Bias. So I guess him and Billy, well, they were a good rhythm section anyway. They fit together really well. And apparently he also played in the Knack. He played with some Richie Kotzen stuff and a bunch of other stuff. Pat Torpey was a great player. So anyway, now I forgot what the hell I was even getting at. But
Wait, Pat Torpey played in the Knack?
Yeah.
Like Mike Sharona, the Knack?
Oh no, not Mike Corona. He played or Mike Sharona. Mike Corona. I don't even know what it's called. Let's see if we can, because I just closed it. Let me see if I can find that again. And whatever. I don't know where the hell it is. Oh, there's Pat Torpey. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Discography. Normal as the Next Guy, a 2001 album. I don't know if there's anything on it. Let's see the track list.
I didn't even know they put out I didn't even know they put out a second album. Because I know they broke up after that first one. And then they got back together, but they only had like one album.
Okay, yeah. Normal as the Next Guy is the sixth and final album of the Knack. I don't know. Let's see what their albums were.
The lead singer died, so I know there wasn't.
There probably wasn't much going on after that. So it was Get the Knack, which we know. That's the standard. But Little Girls Understand, and I'm not exactly sure which one's on that. Oh, Baby Talks, can't put. I don't even know it. Round Trip, don't know it.
I only know two songs, and they're both off Get the Knack.
Yeah, Get the Knack is let's see.
One song I can't stand, the other I actually like.
Holy crap! I don't recognize any of them. Oh, good. Yeah, Good Girls Don't. That's classic. Everybody knows that one.
Good Girls Don't. Yeah.
Oh, and My Sharona.
I like. Yeah, Good Girls Don't is the only song I like.
I wouldn't know anything other than Good Girls Don't and My Sharona. I wouldn't know any of it. Anyway.